Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be riding Sorrento in his first pasture arena work of 2026. Where I keep my horses, we don't have access to a typical arena, but I am able to use this field when the ground is dry enough, and this is really the first time it's been adequate and suitable for them this season. So I'm very excited for today's ride because I'm very interested to see, how Sorrento is starting out this season. I know we left off last year. We really only did a few rides like this, but we didn't have a lot of shoulder control, and he really struggled with turns, and he really struggled with having his weight on the hind end. So Sorrento is going to be 9 this year. He's an ex-rodeo bucking bronco. I bought him off of Facebook. I bought him from a lady that got him from a horse trader that wasn't fully honest about his past. She definitely figured out quickly that he was essentially unhandled, and she did, give him that basic foundation. She even put a few just simple, easy rides on him, and then he really bucked her off, so she ended up sending him to a trainer, and they had him for about 2 months, and he was still bucking. So after that, she ended up listing him for sale, and quite a few months after that, I came across his ad, and he sounded like a fun project. He's obviously very pretty, but in his videos you could just see how hard he was trying, and so I ended up buying him and taking a chance on him, and that was about a year ago. I started things really slowly with him. I answered a lot of questions. He really tries hard to understand and to get things right, and I think he just didn't have all of the information that he wanted. So he's been really good for me. Thankfully, he has not bucked at all. He really comes out every day and really tries to get things right and really puts in a lot of effort. So here we're just doing a really long, nice walk warm up. You can see he likes to have his nose out quite far. I'm really just trying to offer a nice soft contact if he's interested in taking it, but making sure that I follow the head nod with my hands. I am much happier with how much lighter he is on the front. Last year he was extremely heavy. And mentally he really feels relaxed. You can see the herd of horses is over behind us, and he's just kind of walking along and trying to pay attention and really listen to what I'm asking. Sorrento really has a very bold personality. He's a very confident horse, and on the trails, he's great. He loves to lead. He'll ride out alone, really no issue. He's very, very bold. Honestly, I think his ideal job would be a hunt horse or a police horse. I'm really just trying to help him shape his body when we turn and see if I can have him feel how it feels to be in balance and be able to kind of bend around my leg. Sorrento's biggest struggle of all since getting him has been getting his feet in check. He was not trimmed. Typically, they are not trimmed as bucking stock. And then when his previous owner got him, she did work on handling his feet, but he needed to be sedated for trims. So I believe she had him a little over a year and had him trimmed just a few times because it was such an ordeal. And when I got him, it was very clear he was very nervous about having his feet handled. But I do try and trim hooves with just basically a light rasping every week. And I do use a lot of reward based training. So it didn't take too many weeks before he was looking forward to it, and now he is great and he has no concerns. But because of that, he really did show up when I bought him quite body sore. He had a lot of excess heel, a lot of excess foot in general, and we're still trying to grow out all the flares and grow a nice connected foot. But for those of you wondering what color he is a buttermilk buckskin Tobiano. He turns a really pretty gold color in the summer. You can see as I ask him to stop, he really his go-to is to brace against that. So I just very gently ask him to back up, just basically one step at a time, releasing after every single one. On the ground with just a halter, you could with the bridle and bit, you can back him up very nicely. But when you're on him, he really kind of struggles with it. So it's something we do practice quite a bit. There, I just give him a treat for making that effort, even though it was not the most beautiful. I'm still happy with it because I still got a reaction. Still, he still tried. I do always try to make sure that my horses feel better after they've been ridden and make sure they are able to kind of stretch and work out any kinks. His soreness was mostly in his shoulders and neck and chest. He had a very poorly developed chest when I got him, so that is also improved significantly. So this is our first little trot transition. I did not lunge him or do anything before this ride because I really wanted it to be a true baseline of where he's at. I was actually pretty happy with that transition. He sometimes gets a little bit wiggly and doesn't just kind of go forward into trot, but he did a halfway decent job, I think. Every once in a while, you'll see he has moments of thinking about, lowering his head and neck. But I'm not honestly not too worried about that. That will become much better with more time and practice. I was super happy with his rhythm. He didn't start off really rushy or anything like that, but he is nicely forward. I'm not having to push him forward. And he really is a pretty forward horse, but not running away with you or anything like that. He's got a very comfortable and smooth trot. There's my transition down to walk, which wasn't terrible. I really try to set him up and kind of trot smaller and smaller and then go into a more forward walk. The ground here is not perfectly even. There's lumps and bumps and rocks and sticks, so every once in a while he does trip a little bit on a lump of dirt. I wasn't sure how distracted he would be with the herd over to the side, but he was actually really good and was really trying to focus and listen to what I was asking. Here's another little backup. He did a nice job there. I didn't want to give him a treat right by the electric fence, so I tell him to come to the other side. Sorrento always has preferred to see me out of his right eye, which is interesting. Most horses are more the left eye, but his preference is definitely the right eye. I think he gets so pretty in the summer when he's shiny. Now I'm going to switch directions and make sure he feels good in the walk going this way before I ask for my trot. Right here, I'm asking for him to put that right shoulder more over to the left. That's the shoulder he really tends to bow out, which some of the time it could be because his hind end doesn't want to work as much. But there's our trot transition, which I was pretty happy with. You can see he's got that shoulder kind of falling in there. I really just try to help position his body and let him feel how much better balanced he is. And once they can feel that, then they start learning to do it themselves. I'm really pushing that shoulder out. And then he has really nice moments where he really seems to get it. One of our big goals for this year is to really work on our canter. His right lead is his stronger lead. Usually it's the stiffer side that they prefer because of the better balance. So he definitely prefers his right lead. So here I'm going to ask him for some, kind of do a speedy trot, not that crazy, but then he's able to find it. I'm trying to move with him. It's a little hard because it's a bit discombobulated. I'm trying not to thump around too much, but definitely not perfect. I do need to be a lot better about lunging him and doing more long reining type of work to really help him find his balance. A lot of our work up to this point has been trails or road riding, which is mostly straight lines. Every once in a while we've done a little arena ride, but it definitely hasn't been the focus because we've been working on so many other skills. But I think this year we'll try to make that a goal. Sorrento really rides quite lightly for such a large horse. He is a draft cross. He is 16-1. and he's probably over 1,600 pounds. I always wanted a bucking bred horse because they're large and they're so athletic. So I think it's like a super cob where you get a sports horse that's more of the drafty build. So there I asked for a few more steps of canter. He wasn't quite able to get it, so I regroup. And I'm going to ask again here just to see if we can get a few more steps and finish with that for this direction. That was a pretty nice trot to walk transition, except for the trip. Sorrento really enjoys praise, so I do try to tell him that he's doing a great job, and he really does seem to appreciate that. So now we're going to try the other direction, and I was pretty sure that we were not going to be able to find the left lead, but as long as we found some sort of canter step, that's really all I was looking for. That was not the most ideal trot transition, as he kind of tripped into it, but I'll still take it. You can see here we're kind of losing his shoulders a little bit. They're drifting to the outside, but he does make a turnaround and makes the turn for me. I try to set him up and make sure he's relaxed and balanced, and then I ask for a canter. And he gives me a right lead canter. He's kind of drifting off towards the trees, so I try to straighten him, and then we go back to trot. And again, he's kind of drifting out to the right there, but he does make the turn for me. So we're going to have to give him a lot of credit for this ride, because last year we absolutely would have drifted right out of this field. That was probably our nicest transition of the whole ride. I was very happy with that. I think it would be really easy to be nitpicky about his ride and, his nose and his a little bit of resistance here and there, but I think you have to keep in mind where he came from. It's really been less than a year that we've been actually asking him to do things when ridden. Maybe been 6 months, and even then it's been mostly trails and mostly road riding. All winter was just easy trails through the snow. So honestly, I'm super happy with this ride. I feel like we're going to make a lot of progress this year, and I'm very excited to see where we end up at the end of this season. And I really want to do a comparison ride so we can look and compare apples to apples and see how far we came. Here I'm just going to tell him he did a good job, give him a treat, and get off to really, tell him, yep, we're done, you did it, great work. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.